This is being recorded through a secure server on version 24.8. I am reading through File Viewer 3.2 with PGP decoding enabled. This is being recorded for those of you who have yet to read the new rules. Never leave the boat. D. Edward, here are those Roger's rules of ranging we talked about. I have no idea whether they actually came from Alphonse. Writing all this down doesn't seem like the old man's style. Maybe it started with him, but it's been making the rounds a long time. Who knows how many of us have added to it over the years? If you share it with any FNGs, be sure to tell them not to mistake it for intelligence tradecraft. It's tradecraft for agents on the ground. It all comes back to the same old mission. Find the threat, stop the threat, and cover it up so it's like the threat had never happened. With that being said, these are Alphonse's Axioms for agents. Rule number 1. The first commandment is, thou shalt not get caught. You do not have a get out of jail free card. You do not have a license to kill. To the world outside, you are a criminal, a terrorist, and a traitor. If you are arrested, you will keep quiet, say nothing, and take what's coming. Getting you out of custody is not A-Cell's problem, unless A-Cell needs you for something. Rule number 2. Always have your go bag packed and ready for a night at the opera. Your go bag should include sanitized gear, weapons, cash, clothing, and false identification that can be used and abandoned during a night at the opera. Rule number 3. Stick to code names and cover names. The less you learn about each other during an operation, the safer you all are. You can't betray what you don't know. This is doubly true when dealing with friendlies. Rule number 4. Always keep to your cover identity. Your cover should always be someone with a reason for asking the questions you need answered. Rule number 5. Prepare a new cover after every night at the opera. Covers last only as long as they are necessary. Even the best covers can't stand up to intense scrutiny. Make them, use them, ditch them. Rule number 6. Other than sticking to your cover, never lie to a fellow member of about anything, ever, unless A-Cell says otherwise. Rule number 7. Always lie to anyone who isn't a member of about everything, always. And make sure your lies are specific and consistent. Rule number 8. Friendlies can know the truth about an individual operation. They can never know the truth about Rule number 9. Always scout your destination, no matter how secure you think it is. Never bring the whole team to do surveillance. Be inconspicuous. See the enemy first. Rule number 10. Always perform a counter-surveillance check before you camp down and before you move. Perfect paranoia is perfect awareness. Rule number 11. Never do anything alone. Always have someone watch your back. When you are sleeping, pissing, eating, searching a location, interviewing a witness, or when your nose is buried in research, have someone watching your 6. Rule number 12. Always establish a rally point in case the team has to scatter and regroup. The rally point should be pre-stocked with anything you need to escape the opposition, whether that be money, travel documents, or even a spare vehicle if you can manage it. Rule number 13. If you are attacked, break contact. Do not stand and fight when the opposition has the initiative. Retreat, regroup at the rally point, go back later, and kill them in their sleep. Rule 14. Any operation can be aborted. If it feels wrong, it is wrong. Rule 15. Never take a chance if you don't have to. You are harder to replace than you think. Your death, injury, or disappearance will be difficult to explain. Rule 16. Don't wait until you see the whites of their eyes. If firearms have no effect, it's best to find that out while you still have the time and the space to break contact. Rule 17. Give no fair warnings. Surprise is the only advantage you have. Taking live prisoners usually carries more operational hazards than benefits. Rule 18. If you do take prisoners and you plan on interrogating them, never leave them together to cook up a story between them, unless, of course, you've bugged their cell. Rule 19. Torture rarely works on our brand of opposition. Be prepared to find another way in. Look for the opposition's laptops, notepads, cell phones, documents, and journals. Passwords and encryption are often broken more easily and more reliably than men. Rule 20. Assume nothing. Don't believe what you are told. Double check it yourself. Rule 21. Everyone is always potentially under control by the opposition, including your teammates. Rule 22. Don't harass the opposition. Save your energy, limit your exposure, strike when you are ready. Be utterly thorough. Be utterly ruthless. Rule 23. Don't ever go into any place if you don't know how to get out. This includes buildings, neighborhoods, cities, states, and countries. Always work backwards. Establish your line of retreat first. Rule 24. Always take a different route getting out than you took going in. Rule 25. Think carefully before you steer law enforcement officers towards the opposition. Law enforcement officers are unprepared for the supernatural and high casualties are likely. LEOs may not be prepared to prevent escapes or the loss of critical opposition assets. They do, however, make an excellent distraction. Rule 26. When embedded with an agency that is pursuing its legitimate remit, act with extreme caution. Remember that in this situation you are working without cover. The host agency's goals are not our goals. You may have to undermine their mission in order to accomplish our mission. Rule 27. Recognize when it's time to call A-Cell for help, especially when embedded in a legitimate investigation. Oversight and legitimate duties can prevent you from directly accomplishing your objectives. Other cells can execute the mission while you act as a conduit for intelligence. Don't marry the mission. Rule 28. Always check the nearest green box and stock it with leftover supplies. If there isn't a green box nearby, create one. Rule 29. Don't lose a tail until you arrange for someone to follow the guys following you. Find out where they go and what they do. Rule 30. Never start shooting until you identify the opposition and confirm their numbers and capabilities. Rule 31. If you find a target during the day, wait and attack under cover of darkness. It won't just hide your numbers and actions from the enemy. It will hide your actions from innocent bystanders you won't have to eliminate later. Rule 32. Never search an occupied structure. If you are entering an occupied structure, it's called an assault. Dress accordingly. Rule 33. Don't kick down the front door. Make your own entry point. This applies to most situations, both literally and figuratively. Rule 34. Calculate the opposition's strength and identity from a prudent distance. Send in closer reconnaissance after all other options are exhausted. Take your time. Do not rush. If you are made, back off. Someone else can kill them later. Rule 35. When you don't have enough force to assault the opposition's stronghold, burn it. Flush them and ambush their escape route. Rule 36. Use your prepaid burner cell phone. Turn it off and take out the batteries when it's not in use. Throw it away after the opera. Other than that, stick to the randomly selected public landlines when contacting A-Cell. You shouldn't be calling anyone else during an opera. Rule 37. Cell phones are tracked by employers and family alike. Make sure your personal cell phone is wherever your cover story says you are supposed to be. Rule 38. You are safer if you never get out of range of encrypted radio with your teammates. You are safest if you never get out of each other's sight. Rule 39. Use old cars. No low jack, no airbags, no automatic locks, manual everything if you can get it. Rule 40. Never bring anything to the opera if you can't drop it and walk away. Never bring anything you didn't buy with cash. Never, ever bring anything your home agency issued to you. Ever. Rule 41. Do not use hypergeometry, medieval metaphysics, or any other system of planar manipulation that could be taken for actual magic. You will become part of the problem. Concentrate on solving the problem before the supernatural becomes your only option. If you do end up using such systems, always tell A-Cell that you did. The consequences are far preferable to having A-Cell find out later that you kept it a secret. Rule 42. Never leave teammates behind where the authorities can find them. Rule 43. Always report back to A-Cell, even if that means leaving your team to die. Rule 44. If you are successful, you won't have to explain your actions to A-Cell. A-Cell will be the final arbiter of your success. Alphonse's Axioms for Agents was written by Adam Scott Glancy. This is a published arrangement from Arc Dream using the Delta Green IP, and all of their rights are reserved. If you want to learn more about Delta Green, you can visit their website at www.deltagreen.com, And if you'd like to see more from Arc Dream Publishing, you can also visit their website at www.arcdream.com. Now, agents, you are dismissed.